What's up coders, welcome to the fourth video in the series. In this one, we'll be creating an admin side menu component. In this, we'll be navigating to different parts of the site. We'll have an animation for it to open and close. We'll have authentication built into it, so we'll have sign out options. We'll have icons and all kinds of things that are important to an admin side menu component. Now, to start with, we're going to use the MUI draw component as a base to build all of this on. And with it comes accessibility, animations, icons, all the building components that we're going to need to build this side menu component. We've already built a placeholder for now, but we're going to upgrade that. And to do that, we're going to also have to change the header, the login component, the dashboard, and the first page index, which hosts everything, and including the app component as well. So if all of that sounds interesting, make sure to like and subscribe, and go and follow me on the Hashton on Twitter to keep informed of when the next video series or the next video in this series comes out. But otherwise, let's go start building. So just a bit of housekeeping before we begin. We're going to add two packages to the project, which is Sass and Prettier. Now Sass is to compile our styling, and Prettier is just a personal preference to make sure that we've got everything uniformed and done nicely. Now I'm going to show you how to set those up as well, but let's just quickly add those now. So yarn add Sass and Prettier. And then we'll add them as dev dependencies. So that's all installed. So whilst that's happening, I'll just show you how to quickly set up Prettier. So we go to so in WebStorm, this is how you would do it. In VS Code, I'm sure it's fairly simple as well. So just go into settings, type in Prettier, and then just make sure that on save that that you've got it set to that. Just need to make sure that we've got the right package. So select that. On save, all actions on save. I also optimize imports on save, so if you want to set that up as well, run code cleanup. So you can or you can't. I'm going to untick that one, but essentially optimize imports and run Prettier are really good ones to have on everything. So I'll just click OK on that. You can also get different settings for Prettier, and you can set your own config for Prettier, but we'll just use the default for now. So essentially, if you make a change, so if I was to do this and then click save, it should then automatically rearrange everything and make it cleaner and sort it out. So that is Prettier and Sass installed. Let's go check out the draw component in MUI. So the React draw component is this really cool component that MUI has in the component library. And it just gives you an admin dashboard straight away. You can have it slide in from any direction. So you can use it for all kinds of apps. It also has great accessibility, so you can detect when you're not on it, when you're not focused. It announces everything, the state when it's open and closed. You just need to make sure you add translations for different languages. But yeah, it's got a lot of cool stuff already built in. Now we won't be using that version. What we're going to be using is just further down here. So if we go down here, this is the kind of side menu we're looking to have, the mini variant draw. So we want it to open up, but it also have a persistent view of a side menu. So similar to WordPress, if you've ever used WordPress, there's a version that you can minimize the menu, and you can also maximize it. So you then have the text, and when it's minimized, you just see the icons. So this is the version we're going to use. So if we go here, essentially what we want to do is just go ahead and grab all this code and add it to the project. So let's go here and grab all of these imports first, and then pop it in here. Grab some of these. So it's using an app bar, which is this. Now, because we've already got our header, we don't want to add the app bar, so we won't do that just yet, but we'll add everything else. So we want our open and close mixin and our draw header. So this is using styled components, which is actually installed on the project, but we won't be using that, and I'll show you how to convert that to CSS modules in a moment. And we come down here, put this into here, go down here, paste the draw part in, which is here. And then within the function, we need to add some of these. So we need to add some state, we need to handle some on-click handlers, and then obviously we need to call the theme as well. So whether it's dark or light. So within here, so let's just make sure these are all imported. Use theme, okay. Draw width, so we'll just import style components for now, just so we can get this working. We won't need that for now. Probably just grab the draw component here for now, and then we'll just replace this. Just make sure we've got draw width, bring that back, set that at the top. So now it should have access to draw width, MUI draw. So it's saying it's missing that. I'm not sure why it's saying that. Okie dokie, right, it should have that now. It's not happy about something. So I think what we'll do is we'll just take this and get rid of this component here and add our SX properties and just add these here. So we'll just get rid of that one. And in fact, we'll sort this out as well. So draw header is essentially just a div. So we'll add that back as a div. And it's got some styling here. So we'll add a side menu component. So we'll add a side menu module.sass. So this adds CSS modules to this component. So we'll just go in here and we'll call it draw header. And then we'll not add that. We'll copy that and put this here. There we go. Just need to make sure these are correct. Right, that should be fine for now. We can delete that so we don't need style components anymore. Just make sure we're importing the draw component. I think that's automatically done that for us. Right, no more style components. That all seems to be working fine. We can get rid of style components. And you can see how it's optimized our imports massively. So really it should be pulling from there. So not sure why it's unhappy. So use theme might not be the one. Let's get rid of that and then import that correctly. So we want to bring this from material. Okay, now that seems a lot happier now. We need to make sure we've got these icons imported. Grab these icons. And also grab these chevrons. So that should be all our icons. I think it's happy. Right, let's go have a look. Let's go to localhost. See if it's got any errors. I'd be surprised if it works straight away. Ooh, it's there. So we've got it working, almost. So we just need to sort this out. But yeah, you can see that we've got a draw component. We just need to get it to open. So let's go back here and see why it's not opening. So this is the icon button, and on-click handle draw close. So what is handle draw close doing? Interesting. So really what we want this to do is to toggle open and close. So to do that, all we need to do is just put a bang and then an open, and it should just toggle in between that now. So if we go back, it should open and close. And you can see it's got the animation already built in, which is lovely. We just need to make sure that this is styled a bit more centrally. So we could probably delete this now. We do not need that. And we can probably rename this to handle draw toggle. So do that. So that just toggles on. And let's check this out. So I'm just using my keyboard. So it's keyboard accessible. So that's good. And yeah, that's good. So right now, none of these do anything, and we probably have way more than we need. But before that, you can see that this whole draw component opens on top of everything. It opens on top of the header and opens on top of the dashboard. Now I don't mind it opening on top of the dashboard too much, but we can add a bit of padding and style it a bit differently to make it look better. But for now, the first thing we want to do is just move that a little bit further down below the header to make it look a bit better. So let's do that now. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to style the paper component, which essentially what this is. So if we inspect this, we can see that the draw component is essentially the paper component. So we can target that with the paper style here, the paper class name. And we can do that within the SX property in the draw component. So if we go here and we open this up within the draw component and we add that and save that, we should just be targeting this. Now what we're doing here is we're adding a use media query hook from Material UI. So we'll just go and add that now. Now we've added that already beforehand somewhere else. So we'll just add this here. We'll change this to 600 pixels because that's what we'll need. So that should be sorted now. And essentially what this is doing is targeting the paper component, which is the draw component. And it's saying we want that to sit below a certain amount, and it's different for desktop and mobile. So we'll go have a look to see how that looks like. So we'll refresh this. So we probably just need to do a bit more to that. So need to make sure we anchor left. What we'll also do is just move some of these styles into the MUI draw component, because that's essentially where all of this is happening. So we'll get these and we'll move them down. We'll grab these as well and move it further down here too. And then if we take a look, we can see that it's now working. So when we're targeting, so when you're trying to make bespoke changes to MUI components, that's probably the route that you're going to need to go down to get real proper specificity on the inner components that make up the MUI components, because all MUI components are compound components in that they're made up of lots of different smaller components. So you're going to need to learn to interact with the components that live inside it. A good way to do that is obviously just inspect it and see what components are made up of it. You can tell by the class name. So how we found the paper component. Right, and we just need to make sure that this is responsive. So let's check this on mobile. So that works. But yeah, that seems pretty flush. Now the next issue is obviously the dashboard, but this mobile menu here. We don't really need a mobile menu now that we've got this admin dashboard menu. So let's actually get rid of it and just straight up delete it. So let's go to the header component. So let's go to the header component. So we can see here that wherever pages is, we don't want that. So here, for example, we can probably get rid of this entire box component. Some more. Let's delete that too. Go have a look. So we can now see that that's gone, which is great, but we have a problem here. We just need to make sure that this is pushed to the right. We can do that very easily here. So we just add some margin left auto to make that a string, and then that should be sorted. And if we go to mobile, no longer do we have a mobile menu, but we do have our admin menu. So that is the header pretty much sorted. We still have our logger options. We'll add some other options here in the future, such as profile and things from pages we're about to add here. Let's just make sure this is styled properly as well. This icon button not being aligned is kind of annoying me right now. So we added the div earlier, but we didn't actually add the class name draw header. So we'll do that now. And this is essentially the button that has the chevron on it. Just misspelled that a little bit. So let's add it as draw header. just rename it here because this is probably misspelled. Cool. Let's change that to 1RIM again. There we go, that's better. So now that's all centered, that's all nice. So let's finish off this side menu and just get rid of some of this and tidy up and add some options. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of this top bunch of icons. Go back here, we'll go to side menu, we'll go to inbox. So right now it's using an array to map over all of this and produce these components. So currently we've got the trash and the spam below, and we've got the starred and the drafts and the really nice ones above. So what we'll do is we'll keep the trash ones and the spam below and delete all of this. And let's have a look. So there we go, we've tidied up our list quite a bit, and we're going to start to add our own list. So we'll just go up here and we'll add some options. Now what I want to show you here is the menu root list is essentially what we're going to be adding for our routes. So we're going to have 4 routes here. We're going to have the data page, which is going to be where all the graphs and things are. We're going to have the profile page of the user who's logged in, and then we're going to have the settings page. So this is to go in and change any settings with the dashboard or anything like that. And then we're going to have a final page, which is going to be us signing out, and we don't want a route for that, so that will take us back to the home page where the login is. In the future we could change that to login, and then what that would do is in the URL browser it would redirect you to the login page. But for now we'll just go to the home page, and then we need to add translations for this because these are all lowercase, but in the menu we want them to be capitalized, so meaning that the first letter of the word is capitalized. And having this means that we can then tie this in to a translation system in the future. So for example, if you want to translate this to German, this value here can then be changed out, and because it's separated from this, you can do that. So that's why we need these two here. And the final one we want to iterate over, because we're doing a map, so we need to map over arrays. The final array is the icons. So we want to add a home icon to take us to the home page, which is the data page. We need a profile icon, a settings icon, and an exit icon for the sign out. So now that we've got all these 3 here, we just need to make sure that these 4 are imported. So we'll just go grab these from MUI icons. So just so you're aware, if you ever need to grab icon components for MUI, just Google material icons and you should be able to go to this page and just grab whatever you want. So if you want a profile icon like we just grabbed, you can do that, and we grab person too. If you want settings, just type in settings and grab the settings icon, which I grabbed, then simply import that and use the settings icon here to import it, and then you should get all of this in nicely. Obviously there are other options if you want to use your own SVG icon, your own custom icon. MUI can cater for that, so you can do a custom SVG icon wrapper and then just put in the SVG code into there. But yeah, there's plenty of options here. We just need the 4 for now, so we've got that here. So you can see it's using the old icons, so it's using these here. So we're going to switch that up and add our own. So let's do that now. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of this, and this is actually going to be our translations. So we want menu list translations. So this is then going to input our essential text. So let's go have a look. So if I open this now, you can see it says data, profile, settings, and sign out. So we've already got that mapped to this, but let's change the icons as well. So currently in the demo, it's got this really weird setup with how it's doing the icons. So basically it's checking the index, and if it is a certain value, it's just going to show one or the other, which we don't want to do. And that's just to alternate between the 2 icons. So anyway, we're going to add our own. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our icons, the menu list icons, and we're going to use the index parameter here from the map to essentially just cycle over the menu list icons. and that will give us our icons. So let's go see how the icons look now. And there you go. You can see our icons have now changed. So we have our sign out icon, we have our cog icon and our profile icon and our home icon, which shows the data. We can change this, in fact, to be like a graph, which might be better. Let's go grab a graph instead. Let's use the equalizer then. So let's go grab that. So up here, we'll get rid of we'll probably keep the home icon in case we want to use it for a home page in the future. We can get rid of these two now. And we want to put the equalizer in the place of the home. Let's go have a look. So there you go. That's a lot nicer now. So that's showing the data icon. And you can see with MUI, it's got the nice pulse animations. It's got keyboard accessibility. So yeah, it's pretty good. The next thing we want to do is actually do stuff with these menu buttons for the admin panel, for the admin side menu. We actually want you to go to the data subroute, and we want to go to the profile subroute and the settings subroute. So if you remember in the earlier episodes, we actually set up the subroutes. So if we go to pages and we go to dashboard, you can see we've got the data, profile and settings subroute already set up. Now these are all ready to go. They've got the routes ready. We just need to point it to it. So we need to go to list item button here and essentially just wrap this with our next link. So next link is how we're going to transition from these pages. So list item button is here. So we just need to go and complete our next link. And with Prettier, it just arranges everything nicely, so you don't have to even think about it. So just go back up here and add our next link. So next link will come from next as a component. So that should be imported. And what we're doing is we're going to add some custom styling because it's going to be styled in a certain way, which we don't want. And then we also want to say that we want to go to the dashboard and that this is our menu route list. So this is actually what we want to do. And then it's going to say the index. So this will point us to the right part of the array of the menu route list, which would be data, profile, settings, and then nothing. Just make sure we add the right styles because we don't want to add the default styles. I'll uncomment this now to show you what it would look like and why we need this. So if we open this up now, you can see that NextAuth is adding its own traditional styling. We don't really want that, so we'll just make sure we don't have any text decoration. And then we just need to obviously change the color on that in a moment. But in fact, let's do that now. Let's change the color first. So list item text here. We've got this here. So what we've done is we've essentially made sure that the color is pulling in from the theme always. Because if we just set this to white, then it would always be white. But we want it to be tied in with our themes that we've created earlier in the second episode. And what this does is it pulls the primary color from the theme, whatever you've set it to. We currently haven't set these, so it's going to default to the default colors in the dark theme and the MUI theme that come with it pre-packaged. So even if you haven't set it, it's got fallbacks that will take care of it for you. We also want to make sure that the opacity is correct, so it's not all faded out. So let's go take a look. So if we open that now, that's showing the correct color for the dark theme. We go to the light theme and then it switches out. So it's all uniformed and matched and wired up. So if you click the data page now, it should take us to the data page. But the problem here now is that we don't actually have a side menu. So we're going to have to reorganize how our dashboard works and some of our other core pages. So let's go back and rejig some of those. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create our own layout component. Let's close everything else down. And then we'll create a new index.ts. Now you can have this layout folder outside of the components folder. So here, so it will sit alongside pages. That's one valid option for organizing this. But because we probably only will have one layout component, we're having it here. But in the future, if you want to scale this up and you want more layout components with NextJS, then you would certainly move this out of here and keep it just in the root of the source folder. but just a bit of advice for scaling there. If you want to, just make sure to move that out. So just make sure we export here. We've created our layout component here, and I'll explain what it does. We've essentially created our layout component with just some generic props. The reason why it's generic props is because we're accessing, or we want to access, the child component, or the children component. So we don't really want anything serious in terms of a specific prop. We just want to use the children one, which is native to React. So we've left that like that, just very simple. We need to make sure that we have access to the next auth session to know what's going on, because we only want the side menu to be visible if they're logged in. So session checks here to see if they're logged in. If they are logged in and they are in a valid session, then the side menu will appear. If not, then it won't. But it will always show the children of the layout here. So for example, it will show the login or the dashboard or whatever. We've also got our main div here, our main element, which we're going to add some styling to. So I'll create a layout module, layout styling module. And in there, we'll add some base styling. So we want to add some padding that leaves some room for the side menu. So we want to have it so that when the drawer opens on the left, you can see that big amount of space it takes for the text. It actually accompanies that, and then based on super ultra wide, not super ultra wide, but ultra wide monitors or large monitors, wide monitors, it then reverts that and caps off the max width, and then it just centers it with margin auto. So let's go back here. And let's go to pages, go to index. So we also want to grab the header from here. We don't want this to sit here anymore because we don't need it here. I'll get rid of that. Go to layout, add a fragment because we've got two base level elements sitting side by side with each other. So React wants us to do that. We don't want it to say the page number for now. I'm happy for it to say data dashboard. Actually, that'll be fine. So I'm pretty happy with a layout component like this. I think that's enough to get going. We're just going to need to rearrange this now to cater for the fact that we've pulled out the side menu, because we're not going to need that anymore because that will be in the layout component. So let's rearrange this. So what we've done is we've wrapped our content in a main class, and what we're doing is we're only showing the login and the dashboard based on the logged in session, the logged in status. So if they're logged in, they're going to show the dashboard. If they're not logged in, that's why the bang's there. It does the opposite. Then it's going to do the inverse, which is just show the login page for them to actually then log in, or the login component. So that's all set up now. Let's just go to the app page here and then just add the layout component. So we want to add that within here. Make sure we've imported it. That is imported. So now we've got just the general page component now wrapped in the layout component. Let's go see how that looks. So we can see now that there's a bit of spacing on the left hand side here. So originally it was kind of in there. So now if we open this up to a wider resolution, it works a lot better. And if we go down to mobile view, it also sits within the layout a lot more nicely. But if it opens up over, that's absolutely fine. We just have this issue with the padding top here. So let's sort that out. So what we want to do is just go to the header component. So because it's only one property we want to add, we don't really want to add its own class name for it and its own file. It seems a bit overkill. So what we'll do instead is we'll add some margin bottom just here. So we'll go margin bottom and we'll add about 40 pixels worth. So if we go back here now, we can see that that pushes the content way further down now. So if we open that up, I think that all sits a lot more nicely now. And if we switch between views, that also looks fairly well proportioned. But we do have one more issue. So let's assume we've got the drawers open and we want to see the text of whatever it is that we're looking at. And we click on this. It does take us to the page, but you've probably noticed that the actual content is hidden. So if we go back, you can see that it's hidden. You can't really see it. So what we want the side menu to do is automatically close it down once we've clicked on an option. So we can do that. So we go to the list item button. What we want to do is to be able to close that down. So we go to on click. And then what we simply want to do is say set open to false. So let's open that now. And if we click data, it automatically closes it down. So now what we want to do is actually handle the sign out option, because if you know, we click here, nothing happens. So we need to tie it into NextAuth to actually use the sign out options. Now, if you remember, we have the sign out method we can use that comes from NextAuth. So we'll go up here and we'll create a new handler. Essentially what it's doing is it's taking in the text value of the menu option, because we want to check against whether it's the sign out option or not. So if the text does say sign out, or in future we'll use the translation key to check, or some other identifier to check that this is available to sign out. For now, we'll just check to see that it's sign out, and then it's going to use the sign out method from NextAuth. And if it isn't this, then it's just not going to do anything. What we really want it to do is set open false. So we'll save that and we'll go down here. So we'll just replace this and just make sure we pass text, which is coming from the map. So maybe we probably shouldn't put this there. Let's set that back to null. Go back down here and set open to false. So let's try it out. So if we open this now and we click sign out, this should take us to the home page and to the sign in. So then click that again, sign in, and Curious Bytes. Now currently there is a weird bug if we go to a page. Well, I'll not say it's a weird bug. It's a use case. If we then go to profile and then click sign out, it takes us to the dashboard component and it hides the side menu. Now we're going to sort this out when we create our login component, or we work on our login component to be a lot better. And with that, we'll sort out some protected routes, so where you can view and where you can't view if you're signed in. But we'll cover that in a future video. So if we log back in again, and we'll go to the home page by just clicking the logo. That's all pretty much sorted. One thing I do want to add is make sure that we've got a title on these icons, so we can actually, if we hover over it, we can actually see what they are. Let's go here and go to the icons. So we just want to make sure we've got a title and it's of text and ARIA label for accessibility, and set that to text as well, so we kind of know what it is. So then if we hover over now, we can see that it says data, profile, settings, and sign out, which will all be translatable because we've added it as the translatable array. So brilliant. That is our admin side menu component. Now for now, I think that's a really good place to finish on that. We can obviously go ahead and improve this as time goes on. We can move the sign out button further down. We could add custom components, we could add custom icons, could add some color to it. But for now, it all works in both themes pretty well. But for now, you have a working and responsive admin side menu component. And there we go. So now we have our side menu component set up. We have our layout component set up. We have our header cleaned up, and we have all kinds of other bits and bobs sorted. We also have an admin panel that follows us wherever we go. It helps us get from page to page now, gets to our subroutes in our dashboard, which we weren't able to do before. There's a lot more connected now through this one panel. So it's a very important panel to a dashboard in general, because you tend to not have the menus at the top and tend to focus on a side menu more, but you can always have both. So if you have been enjoying the journey so far building the data dashboard, make sure to like and subscribe below, where also you'll find the link to this repo with all this work and this code, so you can check that out on GitHub. But like I said, like and subscribe, and make sure to hit the bell notification for when the next video in the series does come out, and for any other future videos and other series you might find interesting. Also make sure to follow me on the Hashton on Twitter for any updates on when the next video or series are coming, and just because I like to share my thoughts and insights into the industry and into any front-end technology that I'm working on there as well. So with all that said and done, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. But until then, I'm Harry, and this has been Curious Byte.